Philosophy is often associated with complex concepts, heavy books, and abstract reflections. Yet some philosophers have used humor as a subtle blade to reveal truths, dismantle illusions, or simply laugh at the absurdity of life. Diogenes the Cynic is perhaps the absolute master of this art. Diogenes went out during the day with a lantern, and when asked what he was doing, he replied, "I am looking for the man." That is, the authentic person, uncorrupted by conventions. One day, Alexander the Great, standing in front of the philosopher and offering him to grant the philosopher any wish, Diogenes famously requested, "Stand out of my sunlight." This statement symbolizes Diogenes' rejection of wealth and power, prioritizing his simple needs over even the conqueror's authority, a sentiment that profoundly impressed Alexander. An ironic gesture that was worth more than 1,000 speeches. No power, however great, can give the philosopher what truly matters. Diogenes' humor was sharp, provocative, and manifested itself through provocative actions and paradoxes that aimed to reveal the hypocrisy of society. His humor was also a way to criticize the desire for wealth and ignorance, affirming freedom and the ability to be self-sufficient as fundamental values. When asked, "Where are you from?" Diogenes replied, "I'm a citizen of the world." They asked him what was most beautiful among men, freedom of speech. To those who claimed that he was not suited to philosophy, he replied, "Why do you live then if you don't care to live well?" When asked when it was the right time to marry, he replied, "When one is young, not yet. When one is old, never again." Yet behind the jokes there was an invitation to free oneself from the obsession with power and conventions. Socrates' humor was different. Many remember him as a stern teacher, but he actually loved to laugh. Socrates' humor was predominantly ironic, a posture of false ignorance in which he feigned ignorance, thus encouraging his interlocutors to express their own beliefs. Socrates, instead of answering directly, often answered a question with another question, or by constructing a series of questions where clear answers were normally expected. In this way, the question continually reopened the debate, keeping the discussion open and underlining how no conclusion had really been reached. "I know that I know nothing." This is the most emblematic phrase of Socratic irony. Socrates doesn't claim to be ignorant, but to be aware of the vastness of what he doesn't know, unlike those who think they're wise, but are actually the most ignorant. Irony served to unmask the arrogance of those who believe they possess the truth, highlighting the inconsistency of their claims. Only he who knows that he knows nothing is truly wise, not he who deceives himself into thinking he knows, and thereby remains ignorant of his own ignorance. However, it was impossible to remain in suspense forever without arriving at an answer, and it was not uncommon for those who argued with Socrates to lose patience, tired of seeing their thoughts postponed or overturned rather than welcomed and recognized. Kierkegaard saw in Socratic irony a force that severely tested every response. He is not known for humor in the light sense, but he used irony, particularly in his early work, The Concept of Irony, to uncover the limitations of the prevailing philosophical and societal norms of his time, especially Romanticism and Hegelianism. Fixed ideas are like, for example, foot cramps. The best remedy for them is to walk on them. Means that the best way to overcome a fixed idea is to actively engage with it and work through it. Soren Kierkegaard's statement, "Irony is the sure eye that can grasp the crooked, the absurd, the vain in existence," highlights irony as a critical lens for perceiving the crooked, the absurd, and the vain in existence, revealing the superficiality and contradictions of life. Men have the gift of speech not to hide their thoughts, but to hide the fact that they do not have them. The only intelligent tactical response to life's horror is to laugh defiantly at it. Kierkegaard, recognized as a pioneer of existentialist thought, argues that laughing in defiance is a logical response to the absurdities and hardships of existence. Through humor, individuals display both courage and intellect, using it as a form of resistance when facing despair. Oscar Wilde took humor to the heights of art. Ironic, elegant, provocative. His quotes still shine today because they always conceal a hidden truth. They make us smile, but at the same time they put us in crisis. Some bring happiness wherever they go. Others bring happiness when they leave. True friends stab you in the front, which means genuine friends are honest and tell you the truth directly, even if it's uncomfortable, rather than betraying you behind your back. A cynic is a man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. Even Wittgenstein, severe and enigmatic, knew how to play with paradoxes. He wrote, "If a lion could talk, we could not understand him. Even if a lion could speak our words, we would lack the necessary shared context and lived experience to comprehend the meaning behind those words." There are not many of his sentences that can be interpreted as ironic in the traditional sense, but some can be read ironically because of their apparent simplicity. What can be said at all can be said clearly, and what we cannot talk about we must pass over in silence. A statement that seems absurd, yet it pushes us to reflect on the limits of language and understanding, suggesting that topics beyond the scope of clear articulation should be met with silence rather than attempted explanation. Thus we discover that humor is not an accessory to philosophy, but a different way of seeking truth. A smile, a joke, a paradox, simple tools that philosophers have used to show us that the world is less solid than we think. Perhaps this is the most valuable lesson. Philosophy teaches us to think, but humor reminds us that thinking without smiling risks becoming a cage. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more philosophical content.